Let's cut through the noise. This debate centers on credibility. When a member of Congress lectures Americans on how to run their country while avoiding direct questions about her own record, people take notice. Ilhan Omar presents herself as a victim whenever pressure builds, yet clear answers on immigration, loyalty, and accountability remain missing. Trump voiced what millions have discussed for years, and the reaction says plenty. Tears, outrage, and familiar accusations replace evidence. If the claims are false, proof should settle it. If they hold weight, consequences follow. Public office brings scrutiny, responsibility, and accountability. Stay here as we break down the claims, the political fallout, and what this moment could mean moving forward. Trump's point lands hard because it connects security, accountability, and leadership. For years, Americans watched pirates threaten global trade while politicians talked in circles. That stopped when force replaced hesitation. Ships moved again, insurance costs dropped, the threat vanished. Results matter. Then comes the bigger issue. Someone who built a career criticizing America while benefiting from its system draws backlash. People hear lectures about the Constitution from a lawmaker whose past raises unanswered questions, and patience runs thin. Voters expect loyalty to this country first, clarity second, and responsibility always. Trump ties that frustration to policy. Ending taxpayer benefits for illegal entrants, removing hundreds of thousands from Social Security rolls, and restoring enforcement sent a clear signal. Law matters, borders matter, citizenship matters. Those steps reshaped incentives fast. The contrast sharpens when leadership choices appear weak. Chaos grows under indecision. Markets shake. Security erodes. Trump argues his election halted a collapse that felt close. Many Americans agree because daily life reflected it, from prices to safety to confidence abroad. This debate goes beyond one person. It speaks to who gets to define America's future. Voters want leaders who defend the nation without apology, who act instead of performing outrage, and who put citizens ahead of global approval. That message resonates because it feels grounded in outcomes, not speeches. Whether critics rage or cheer, the line has been drawn. Accountability stands at the center, and the audience now decides which vision carries weight going forward. What stands out here goes beyond headlines or sound bites. It comes down to numbers, timelines, and relationships. When a sitting member of Congress enters office with a negative net worth and within a few years appears linked to tens of millions in assets, questions follow. That holds true for anyone, regardless of party. Power demands transparency. The Oversight Committee stepping in signals that these concerns reached a level lawmakers could no longer ignore. Public filings show rapid growth tied to private ventures closely connected to a political figure. That alone raises eyebrows. Add the fact that financial experts struggle to explain how an obscure firm suddenly ballooned in value, and scrutiny becomes inevitable. The context in Minnesota matters. The Feeding Our Future case stands as the largest pandemic fraud scheme in U.S. history, involving hundreds of millions in taxpayer funds meant for children. Several individuals tied to that operation also appeared as donors or political allies. Investigators now ask who knew what, when they knew it, and why alarms failed to trigger earlier. Trump's involvement reframed the issue nationally. By calling for investigations into potential financial and political crimes, he shifted the focus from rhetoric to records. Supporters see this as overdue accountability. Critics frame it as political targeting. Either way, institutions now carry the responsibility to follow the trail. House Republicans control the Oversight Committee, the Senate, and the White House, which removes excuses about gridlock. If wrongdoing exists, evidence should surface. If accusations fall apart, that should become clear as well. Public trust depends on outcomes rather than commentary. Another layer involves federal agencies. Reports indicate that questions about skyrocketing wealth surfaced even under the Biden administration. That detail complicates claims of partisan motivation. When multiple administrations flag similar concerns, the issue gains weight. The political tone surrounding Omar has grown sharper. Her public comments on ICE, fraud investigations, and Minnesota leadership sound defensive to many observers. Critics interpret that posture as pressure building. Supporters call it courage under attack. Voters see a pattern and draw their own conclusions. Beyond one individual, this story reflects a broader frustration with Washington. Americans watch officials gain wealth while everyday families struggle with inflation, housing costs, and taxes. That contrast fuels anger. Calls for investigation resonate because they align with a sense that rules apply unevenly. Oversight exists for moments like this. Financial disclosures, campaign donations, business ties, and legislative influence all leave paper trails. Committees now face a clear test: pursue facts aggressively or confirm public cynicism about accountability. The coming months will matter. Subpoenas, hearings, and reports will either validate concerns or dismantle them. Silence or delay would deepen distrust. Transparency could restore some faith. This debate ultimately asks a simple question: do powerful figures play by the same rules as everyone else? The answer depends on what investigators uncover next. Until then, the spotlight stays fixed, and the pressure continues to build. Omar's response to CNN followed a familiar script. She framed Trump's remarks as scapegoating and deflection, shifting the focus away from the substance of the criticism and back toward motive. That move plays well on cable news, yet it leaves a gap where answers should sit. Voters heard emotion, yet clarity stayed missing. Calling criticism a distraction works only when questions lack grounding. Here, concerns center on money, influence, and accountability. Those issues remain unresolved regardless of tone. Labeling every challenge as an attack allows avoidance while projecting strength, though many viewers see it as rehearsed damage control. Trump's rhetoric grabs attention, sometimes aggressively, yet it also drags disputes into the open. Omar's critics argue that spotlight forces conversations Washington prefers to avoid. Financial disclosures, donor connections, and policy outcomes now face broader scrutiny because the debate moved beyond committee rooms. Her appearance on CNN aimed to reframe the moment as a moral issue rather than an evidentiary one. That strategy energizes supporters who view her as targeted. Skeptics hear deflection. They ask why direct answers feel scarce when stakes involve public trust and taxpayer money. The broader political landscape amplifies this tension. Trust in institutions runs low. Citizens question whether leaders play by separate rules. When wealth rises fast alongside political power, suspicion grows. Omar's framing avoids engaging that suspicion head-on, which critics argue deepens doubts. Media dynamics matter too. Friendly interviews provide space for narrative control. Harder forms demand specifics. Viewers notice the difference. The contrast fuels perceptions that some platforms serve as shields rather than accountability tools. This moment reflects a clash between narrative and record. Omar speaks of prejudice and scapegoating. Opponents point to filings, timelines, and associations. Each side talks past the other. The audience sorts signals from noise. For many Americans, the issue feels simple. Leaders ask citizens to follow rules, pay taxes, and trust systems. That expectation cuts both ways. Transparency and accountability anchor legitimacy. Without them, rhetoric rings hollow. As investigations proceed, words will matter less than documents. Interviews fade, records remain. Omar's CNN response may steady her base, yet it leaves open the very questions driving the controversy. Until those receive clear answers, the debate continues and scrutiny stays intense. At the end of the day, this story rises or falls on facts. Emotions fade, labels fade, records remain. Power demands transparency, especially from those shaping laws and spending public money. Investigations will speak louder than interviews. If answers satisfy scrutiny, credibility strengthens. If gaps remain, consequences follow. Viewers deserve truth, accountability, and leadership grounded in evidence for everyone watching.